Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Grieco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. I am joined, as always, by Billy the Silver Fox Rothert.
Are we throwing back really far to like the first episode where you knocked at me for my gray hair?
Maybe. I just, that was a compliment, though.
Yeah,
It's
I
good
think
to
he
be a
says it
Silver
looks
Fox.
good.
You know, the kids I was teaching today also had like an in-depth conversation about what they guessed my age was, you know. So I guess it fits.
What
Sure.
they guess?
Well, anywhere from 35 to 45, and since I turned 25 like in a month, you know, I'm feeling
You're feeling distinguished.
pretty good. Yeah.
That's what you're feeling.
That's pretty great. So that other deeper voice is Peter Hackashack Busby.
They're changing the rules. You see Silver? Silver's not happy. And I respect
Exactly.
him for it. It's time for a change.
Thank goodness. Change is here. It wasn't 2008. It's actually 2016.
Good.
Hope and change.
Hello, everybody. So I have a fact for you. This one's pretty simple. So if you don't like this one, guys, I do have a backup fact. But I read this yesterday, and it terrified me. And I want to see if it scares you all the same amount. So, did you know the average depth of the ocean is 12,000 feet? Doesn't that seem way too deep?
That's very deep.
It's so deep.
It's
We don't give games Mariana's Trench awards for nothing, man.
No, that one's 7 miles. 7 miles deep, the Mariana Trench. But the average, 2.3 miles, 12,000 feet.
that is
it's
really
terrifying.
deep.
Right?
There's a lot of water.
Right? That's the average.
It's crazy. I want to know what the other fact was, though. Or
Okay. So scientists in California have discovered this mite that can run 322 body lengths per second. So for its relative size, it's the fastest land animal. To put that number in perspective, cheetahs only run 16 body lengths per second. That would be like a person running 1,300 miles per hour.
wow,
Yeah.
that is a lot of that is
And
a
wait,
great fact. So I
How
wanna
fast does
know-
it might go again?
322 body lengths per second. So it's
Wow.
very tiny. So it doesn't have a great absolute speed, but relative, it's incredible.
Yeah, the scale factor there is probably unreal.
I just want to know. So are you getting these facts because when you see at the bottom of like an article those little links that say you won't believe this crazy fact, and you're the person who clicks on it?
So the ocean one I just stumbled across. This one I was actually looking for a different fact. Apparently, somebody told me this a long time ago. When high-speed cameras first came out, they had this defect that in every image there was produced this little like blur, and everybody thought it was this really fast animal that was just being captured for the first time. But I couldn't find that fact, so I had to abandon it.
There was just this thing around us at all times, and they didn't even know.
Yeah, and then we suddenly can capture it on cameras. We're like, what the fuck is that? It's everywhere.
Oh God!
But I couldn't find that one.
And we also patiently waiting. Thank you. We have Chris ZombiePie Redacted. Hello.
Word. Back to the color silver. The only silver that really matters is Silver the Hedgehog.
Oh God,
That's
no.
so true. It's true.
There's a Silver the Hedgehog?
Oh,
don't
yeah.
wanna
He's
know.
a telekinetic hedgehog. He's better than Shadow and Sonic. He was in the best Sonic game ever.
You're telling lies to our listeners.
Oh my
Sonic-
God.
His levels were the best levels.
Is he like fast? Like is that
No,
still his
he creates platforms using telekinesis, and his levels are
Oh.
the best levels.
thing? Of course he does.
Yeah, you don't want to play Silver the Hedgehog. He's not. You're bad. You're lying to our listeners. Well, today we're not lying about Sonic the Hedgehog. Today we are talking about Pokemon Snap, the only game that matters.
Yeah.
Is this the first Nintendo exclusive game you guys have done?
I think it might
It
be.
might be.
I think it might actually be your first
you're right.
Nintendo exclusive game.
Super Smash? We did like the Smash interview.
Yeah, that's true. We just interviewed someone about Super Smash. So yes, I think that is technically our first Nintendo exclusive game.
yeah.
Yes, but that was the first. So hot on the heels of the Super Smash, we have entered the Nintendo Power Hour. That's not true. We're not. There are not going to be several more Nintendo episodes.
We drink every time Pikachu gets mentioned.
Oh no!
I'm ready. Let me go get my Magnum of Jack.
If you want to see Pikachu, you should watch the Detective Pikachu trailer. It's amazing.
With Danny DeVito's voice dubbed
I
over.
still don't understand
We
this.
won't
Detective
be
Pikachu
doing
is
that
chaos to
tonight.
me. I don't understand it.
We're not going to do it, but you should check it out, listener. If
Danny
you have
DeVito's voice is the only way to watch that trailer now. I can't watch the regular trailer anymore.
Did someone do that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's amazing. They took clips from Always Sunny in Philadelphia and dubbed over Danny DeVito's voice to Pikachu's voice to where it's amazing.
That sounds great.
And now there are like multiple petitions to get Danny DeVito to be the official voice actor for Pikachu in the English dubbing of Detective Pikachu.
Is it like it's Detective Pikachu? Like the title accurately
yes.
describes it.
It's the title and his title.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, so I thought a good place to start with our Pokemon Snap episode was to gauge where everyone jumped onto the Pokemon bandwagon. Because I think we are all of us have been on the Pokemon bandwagon for a while, I would think. I personally started with Pokemon Red on my Game Boy Color. I caught a lot of Pokemon. I was very bad at that game, but you can't be bad enough at Pokemon to actually stop progress.
Yeah.
There's
That is
layers
the brilliance
to it.
of it.
Yeah.
That is the brilliance of its design, that you can suck real bad, but eventually through sheer attrition, you will beat that game. If Twitch Plays Pokemon showed us anything, it is that through sheer attrition, you can beat Pokemon.
So I also started with Pokemon Red, and that was, I think, in 1998. Game came out in 96, but I started in 98.
Okay, Pete?
So I think of, in my personal history, I think of Pokemon a lot like crack. So I've been chasing that Pokemon high ever since, and it's just never been quite as good as the first time. Just in video game in general, I've been chasing that high. So I started, one of the first games I ever really played, Pokemon Red, for the Game Boy.
And every Pokemon game you've played, you're like, this time I'm going to catch the dragon, but you never do?
Every game since then, I've been trying to capture that childlike whimsy, and I've
Not
just
just
never been able
Pokemon,
to.
but like every
Every
Wow.
game. I play like Fallout 3, and I look back, and I'm just, if only this were Pokemon.
How come I can't catch any of these critters and just dog meat wasn't enough?
Oh no, this is just a person I've cornered, not a legendary electrical bird chicken.
What's the point?
Might as well just shoot him.
And ZP, you?
Oh boy, this is embarrassing. I was a Poke fanatic. I competed competitively the Pokemon trade game, the trading card game, competitively. I placed fourth in my region, where I took the top three.
Nice.
So I was the alternate for my entire region. I played Pokemon a solid year before it was released in Japan. I mean, in the United States, because I had a Japanese grandmother who got the game from Japan and brought it over here, as well as a giant book of origami. And the way I got that was, as I had a pretty close relationship to cousins of mine that live in Japan, to where I would trade them baseball cards for whatever cool shit was happening in Japan. So I think in the end, I ended up losing a lot of money because I was trading like Barry Bonds, rookie cards, those big rookie cards that actually are worth money now for whatever anime or cartoony stuff was happening in Japan. Whatever, I got Pokemon like a solid year before it came out. Got Naruto a solid year before it came out. I've watched every single movie. I have watched all of Generation 1, the anime. I've watched all of Generation 2, and I think I stopped at about Generation 3. I've even watched the movies that have not been released in the United States, so I've watched the less than legal versions of that movie. I stopped playing the games. I played them solid right up until Gold and Silver, because that's when I stopped playing portable gaming. Game Boy Advance is where portable gaming ends for me. But I was always, a part of my soul is still in the world of Pokemon, and
It's trapped there.
It's trapped there. Like I said, you don't play Pokemon, the card game, competitively and forget about your time with Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
All right,
This
I have
leads
to.
me to a lot of follow-up questions.
Yeah, probably.
Billy, did you have follow-up questions also?
Well, I didn't want to leave him in the dust because I also was fanatical, but I never competed, right? So
Yeah.
if we're gonna be honest, I really just gave my intro to Pokemon. I played Red when it first came out.
Okay.
I went to Yellow. I played Gold, and responding to
Ugh.
Pete, I actually thought that my experience playing Pokemon Gold was better than my experience playing Pokemon Red.
Oh, Gold
So-
was the
Absolutely.
best game.
Gold was awesome,
Yeah, Gold was
So
better as a game.
You had the crafting system. You had the day-night cycle. Like there was the weekly
it was
thing.
the complete
You could headbutt
package.
trees.
And then it had an actual story that was worth something. And then it addressed a lot of the technical issues that I had with Generation 1, such as critical hits equaling speed, which was horribly broken in the very first game. It was the biggest flaw of that entire thing, because if you had a Pokemon like Persian, who would use a special attack, plus it's already high speed, you could have a critical hit rate of Persian had a critical hit rate of 99.6% if you did it just right.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that game is horribly broken in a lot of regards, and
So
they
are the psychics.
changed a lot of that. Well, yeah, the psychic Pokemon,
Yeah.
ghost Pokemon you could really screw yourself up. There were ways to where there were battles to where you couldn't have a good outcome, like an underground Pokemon that got paralyzed underground would then never be able to attack, and if you had a Pokemon in the air and they were paralyzed, they could never attack, and so you're just stuck in this perpetual cycle of nothingness, which was fun to...
Not
Yeah.
to mention Missing No and just parts of that game
Yeah.
not having encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Missing No, of course, as everyone knows, created the whole infinite rare candy thing that
Yep.
was fun.
That game's fun, but very broken.
True.
So,
Okay.
So
okay, Billy, you finish, and then I have questions for ZombiePie, because my God.
all right, yeah, I'm basically just trying to throw myself into his category because I don't want to be like singled out. Like I definitely had fanatic status too. I mean, I recorded on VHS every movie when it aired on TV. I went to like the films in theaters. I've got this sweet like gold plated, or it's probably painted, but whatever. Like token of Charizard that I got for going to see Pokemon the first movie in theaters. Like I still have it to this day. I still got some of my rares, which are probably worth dirt. Some of my nice cards that I had kept, and like I put them in the little sleeve holders. Some good foils. They're probably worth nothing, but
Yeah.
I
think
I have some of my childhood still.
Yeah, I still have my holographic Charizard card.
I have a holographic Charizard in my safe over here right now. Anyway,
I just want to mention.
Apex,
I just wanted to mention something. No one has ever questioned your fanatical anything. Ever.
right. So to wrap it up, the apex of Pokemon for me was playing Pokemon Stadium, which I think was the best addition to the game, like the best spin-off. I loved playing Pokemon Stadium because what I cared about was the battles, and it made the battles all 3D and sweet. So I played Pokemon Stadium for countless hours when I was a kid. And that's sort of, yeah.
That is heresy, because Pokemon Stadium is not even close to being a good Pokemon game, let alone a good video game.
All right, well,
It's
we're not
got
fighting
bad
about
story progression system.
We're not talking about that. I'm just saying,
Come back in 2
when I
weeks
was,
with Pokemon
when I
Stadium.
was 11,
The only thing that's
Stadium
fun
was my
about that
shit.
game are the stupid mini games to where you could play with your friends and
Scyther was cutting logs.
and you had the sushi conveyor belt mini game and the Magic
Yeah.
Park mini game.
see what it was all
Hit
about
the
was
turbo button.
you get the little pack for the controller where you can put your game in there and load your real Pokemon. Like that's what it was about. It wasn't about playing with the game generated shit tier Pokemon because they were just bad.
It's the metatextuality for
You
good.
had to
That
get
was the
ones that
important
you
thing.
had like properly EV trained, get them with your friends and just 3D battle them. That's what it was really about. It wasn't about playing the actual game.
This is true. I want to know, ZombiePie, who is the Barry Bonds of Pokemon?
What generation?
You asking Pokemon or people?
Pokemon.
Barry
so
Bonds.
he traded Barry Bonds rookie cards. I want to know who the Barry Bonds equivalent that came back to you was.
That's a good question.
Was it Scythers?
No, I got Blastoise from that, I believe.
Oh, crap. It's Blastoise. Okay.
Blastoise.
Good card.
He's got a goddamn water cannon on his back, which they never
Got
explain
cool.
how he has like this mechanical part to his body, if that's like something.
It was under there all along.
Yeah,
Could
the
have
real
been
concern
bone.
is anatomy.
Diglets have
It's
feet.
clearly metal. It's not bone.
I mean,
He's got metal bones.
And where's
It's
the water coming from?
he's
how's
you
inside.
don't want to know. Glands.
Glands. Did I go the furthest? So I made it to Diamond for the DS. That was the last one I played.
I played Diamond as well.
All right.
If you really want to count it, I played Fire Red, but that was in Poke MMO.
That's before Diamond.
I had Diamond, and I might have had Leaf Green or something.
I
think Diamond was my last. But you didn't say, ZP, what color was your first Pokemon game? Was it red or blue?
It was blue, because blue is my favorite color.
Okay, there we go.
I was hoping you would have said green, because
I
green
did
was...
have green. I did have green.
There's
That's
no
how,
sight in
yes.
blue.
What is
But,
green?
Green is Bulbasaur, because they didn't have, it was green-blue, and
In
they
Japan.
changed green to red because red is a more popular color in the United States than in Japan.
What?
Yeah,
But
so
then
we
again-
got Pokemon Red and Blue. They got blue and green.
Wait, does that mean that everything, like all the screens are green too? Because in Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, like that's
There's
what
the
the
filter,
color of the
right.
thing was if you were on a Game Boy Color.
mhm.
Everything was red or everything
I
was
can
blue.
only assume. Like, that's probably right.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've gone down the Poke nostalgia path, I figured I would mention why I picked Pokemon Snap. So
Dear God,
the
why?
The reason why was, one, after playing Oddworld and spending like 20 hours playing Oddworld, I wanted to play something short and sweet and enjoyable.
It's
So that's-
definitely short.
It is very short. Two, I never played Pokemon Snap before this. I have wanted it. I managed to find it at like a store that sells old games, and I finally found it. And I'm like, when am I ever going to now I own Pokemon Snap, but when am I ever going to play it? Because I'm an adult, and it's improper for me to play this on my own.
That's the stand you're taking. The stand you're taking is over Pokemon Snap. That's the improper part of your life as an adult.
Yes. So I had Pokemon Snap. I finally had acquired it after years of seeking. And so I wanted to play it finally. And also, it is a game that everyone seems to love, but there's no analog for it. No one's tried to make another version of it or any sort of riff on it other than like Safari games. And so I wanted to see, what is it that makes this game so awesome? Because for me, when I was little, the thing that made it awesome was at the Blockbuster in my town, there was a machine that you could take your Pokemon Snap saves to and then print out pictures of your Pokemon pictures. You could print out actual pictures of your digital pictures.
Yeah.
Did anyone actually do that?
Yes. Yes, I did. I printed pictures out at Blockbuster. Weird story to that. So, first off, not only do you need to get the special like save pack thing for the Nintendo 64, which
Was useless.
useless.
It was useful,
In 6
Okay.
games, it was.
and they were good games.
What were they besides Pokemon Snap? Star Fox.
You know,
is one, right?
details.
That was about. It was about as useful as the RAM pack for the N64, which was another
Oh yeah.
stupid addition to that console. So you had to take your thing. You had to find a Blockbuster. Not every Blockbuster had one of those printing booths.
Heresy.
So he's gonna have Blockbuster.
I took my pack. I was so nervous about doing this because I didn't want to be like the only person who did it, and I was clearly the first kid that had done it in my area. So I waited a solid, after Pokemon Snap got out, I waited a solid 2 weeks to actually, it's like, man, I gotta pick actual good photographs. I have to pick my best photos.
I only get one shot at this.
I only get one shot at this because they're not gonna have these forever. So I pick like, what are my best photographs? I go up to the station. It's like, how do I do this? It's like my dad's off in the distance getting like some DVDs for the Steven Seagal or something.
It wasn't a DVD at that point. It was VHS.
VHS. And so
Why?
he's like, okay, we'll just load it into here. And booted it up, and there was a screen of like the 6 or 7 pictures I had picked. And he was like, "Are these the pictures you want to do?" And I was like, "Yeah." "All right, well, yeah, you're young. These are okay pictures, whatever." And it's like, I'm like, he's just hurt my soul. He's like offended me. It's like, "These are my best photographs."
Okay.
He prints these out. He just completely ignores me. He prints these out, and he's like, "Hey, kid, you want to see some really good pictures that I made from Pokemon?" And he pulls out these set of stickers of his own pictures that he printed out because he apparently played the Pokemon. This is a teenager. He's like, "Look at these." And they're all these perfectly zoomed in. He got Mew perfectly zoomed in, all these great photographs. It's like, my eyes are wide open. Like, I was like taking pictures of Zubat and Jigglypuff and Pikachu on the surfboard. And this guy got all of these perfect photographs. It's like, "Oh, how much do you want for them?"
Oh no.
And he's like, $10.
$10, man.
And I paid him $10 to get his pictures.
Wait, was it for each or all together?
All together.
All right, okay,
It got
we're
really
okay, boys.
sad.
So they printed them on, you could actually pick what size they were. And they printed them on an adhesive so that you could actually use them as stickers.
Okay. Did you get some good 5x9s? Are they in your
They're like,
wallet?
That's exactly what I got. I got 599 stickers. You could actually also print them out for buttons and even bigger things, but those were actually super expensive. So I just got the adhesive 5x9 stickers. And I put these on, no joke, on my Trapper Keeper. And I brought that to my elementary school. And let me tell you, I was the coolest kid on block because I had all of these photographs on my Trapper Keeper. And I was like, "Look, I got Mew, and look at how great that..." So I took full and complete credit for that man's pictures. I had to pay $10 for his pictures, but it was totally worth it because I got to like provide all these tips and tricks that I was totally BSing about. Yeah. So in hindsight, probably shouldn't have spent $10 on a set of stickers.
I mean,
But on the other side,
From a shady teenager on a Blockbuster that no longer exists.
can you put a price on popularity?
No.
It leads to intimacy, but I don't know.
some of the cool decals you can get today for like your consoles and your laptop and stuff can run, $5, $6, $8. So it's not completely absurd.
I just like the idea that there was this kid just hanging out at the Blockbuster with his saves, like, "Hey, kid,
Hey, yo, kid, you want to buy some real Pokemon pics?
That's exactly what he said. "Do you want to buy some real Pokemon pics?"
Just a guy with a trench coat, just, "Hey, you
Well, look,
like Jigglypuff or Zubat?"
the
Are you
episode
stranger?
started with me comparing it to crack. So I mean, the metaphor is sticking.
Have you ever seen a Zapdos fly? Oh my god, that's pretty great. That's an amazing
Speaking
story.
of Zapdos and legendaries, why don't we hop into some of the gameplay and figure out why this game is actually good?
That is true. So Pokemon Snap, if you have not played Pokemon Snap,
Released in '99.
what are you doing?
You play as Tom Snap.
Todd.
Todd. Ah, damn it.
It's okay. No, we're cool. He actually made a couple appearances in some episodes. ZombiePie,
Weird.
do you remember if it was first season or second season that he showed up in the episodes? In the anime?
Todd is going to be second season because there's the weird period where Brock disappears.
Yeah.
I think it's second season, yeah. Which I never understood. I never really looked into why Brock disappears, why Misty disappears. I think part of it was they wanted to bring
Marketing.
in characters. No, part of it was they wanted to bring in, I guess you're right, marketing. Characters from whatever new game had come out, and so they wanted to have characters that looked like that.
Marketing. Everything.
Anna,
Always marketing.
It was Anamezi Foshizi. That Pokemon Origin was actually a really good anime, by the way. The one where they actually literally beat by beat recreate Pokemon Red and Blue in the form of an anime. It's perfect.
That is good to know.
It's good. It's really good.
So you play as this Pokemon person. I think I might have named my person like Pix, but put where S's should be, I put $signs, I think.
Nice.
So no dirty words in a Pokemon game? You didn't like...
No, I don't think so. It might have been Bangers with a Z. I forget. It was dumb. It was a dumb name. And so you are tasked with taking pictures of Pokemon. That is it. Who
like to be photographed.
I
as
love
it's
being
established.
photographed. They hate being photographed from behind. They like showing their best features.
It disappoints them when you photograph them from behind. They get disappointed in you.
It does, and they know.
Oh, God.
They
So
know. Yep, go ahead.
we need to talk about if the scoring system in Pokemon Snap is complete garbage or if it's like this accidental system that's great because
This accidental masterpiece.
it's an accidental masterpiece or if it's just the worst thing ever because everyone has that situation where you take a picture of a Pokemon and you're like, man, this is the best picture. And then Oak says, nah, son, 0 points. Get out of here.
You were close.
Matter?
You were close.
I'm not even sure what the points are used for.
We could
They
talk about
unlock
the
stuff.
details in a second. We should just really intro the gameplay and hit the gameplay topics.
Yes. Billy, do you want to just bang that out?
All right, let's just bang it out. So, you are Todd. You're tasked by Professor Oak to Todd Snap. You're tasked by Professor Oak to take pictures of Pokemon in their natural environments. They like having pictures taken. This is for his research, so you're helping him out. That's what
wait. Can I just interject for 1 point?
Go for it.
I had no idea that Professor Oak was publishing in scientific journals, like that he was actually a member of the scientific community before this moment.
He just wanted people to call him Professor?
I just thought he was some like vagabond who lived next door. Like apparently he's legit.
He's a hermit who randomly gives Pokemons to kids that need to begin their journey to be by themselves.
I hear you're 10 years old. You've come of age.
Take this creature.
It's yours now.
Fire.
It's yours now.
So, continuing. You're given this vehicle, this craft that allows you to move through these worlds without having to drive it, so all you can do is focus on taking pictures. This builds the game like a rail shooter or something. You're just on rails the whole time. You cannot influence the direction of the cart. You can sort of do some stuff, but that's not as relevant. Like you can make it speed up later in the game. There's things you can do. There's things you can do with Pokemon.
But who built the rails? Who built the rails?
I don't know.
Exactly.
No. The machine, like there's not actually rails. It's got like wheels and stuff. So like the cart drives from your teleport in location to the exit location, and along the way, take pictures of Pokemon. Through taking pictures of Pokemon, you get higher, like more points, higher score, and eventually Oak says you can go to new locations. It gets you access to new Pokemon, new scenarios. He eventually gives you items that lets you have different interactions with Pokemon in the environment. So some of the earlier levels you went to, you can now do new stuff in. The game progresses on and on and on until he eventually gives you a mission, which is to take pictures of these special Pokemon environmental monuments, basically. They're kind of hidden, so you have to find them, take pictures of them, and that allows you to access, quote-unquote, the final level of the game, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But that's basically your mission in Pokemon, is to take pictures and do this stuff for Oak, get good pictures, get points, get research, all that good jazz.
Yes.
Did I miss anything huge?
No,
Somehow the Pokemon world has teleportation technology, despite the fact that we live in a world with cars and vehicles, and they don't share that technology as a form.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, Oak's got some, proprietary beta test stuff. Just put this kid in it, and it'll all be fine.
Yeah, he's like 10, whatever. He's taking pictures. He loves it. Also, like the items he gives you seem to be displeasing to the Pokemon. Like
at least the pester balls, yeah.
He gives you apples. He gives you pester balls. He doesn't seem like a good. Like what, Professor Oak? He definitely these pictures. He says they're for a report, but I don't think so because he gives me more points for like exploding electrodes and doing all sorts of foul shit to them.
Yeah, fighting Magmar.
Yeah, just make a Magmar. Oh, you made that Magmar burn another one. Good. It's like, Professor Oak, what do you want? Make them kill.
Not entertained.
At one point, you have to blow up one of the Pokemon in order to unlock another zone.
Yeah, you have to hit a Mankey with a
to render it unconscious.
You have to hit Squirtles with poison balls in order to knock them up a hill.
Yeah.
Which is the most frustrating part of the game. We'll get to that. Oof.
Yes. So when you start out, at first, everything's all good. You've got a camera. You are on this beach. It's a majestic beach. One of the important things about this game is that every level there is a set established sequence for the level. If you are not interacting with it in any way, the Pokemon will be in the same place every single time. They will be doing the same stuff. You can, once you start getting items, you can influence it. Up until that point, you're just kind of taking pictures of what you see. So in the first level, the Doduo will always jump out at the exact same point. The Pidgeys will fly in their little formation the same times. They'll attack that Meowth. They will always attack that Meowth. And so early on,
I think you can save him.
you can, but I said before you get items,
Yeah.
it's
Before
the
you
same
get
stuff
items.
every time.
It's an existential Sisyphean hell for this Meowth.
Yes. That Meowth will always be attacked. That Kangaskhan will always be eating.
Yeah.
So you're basically clocking these levels, going through over and over and over again, trying to get better pictures. And because you're moving at a finite speed and you have a finite amount of time to take these pictures, it encourages you to replay the levels and look around. Because the camera controls are not fast or especially responsive.
No.
Thanks N64 for that.
They're
And
okay.
thanks Inversion.
You can turn it off.
Really?
You can turn off
You
the
can
inversion.
make. Yeah, you can make the controls fine.
Oh my god! I played inverted.
It's in
And I
the
didn't
main
have
menu.
to.
You just go to
Don't
options
think
and change
so.
the camera.
Oh, I could have been so much better. I could have been better at taking poke
And
pictures.
did you know that the C stick lets you quick turn left, right?
No.
Like
Oh, you didn't
it
know
does
that?
like an instant 90-degree turn.
That's important.
Oh my god.
Basically, you just played this game on scrub mode. It's all right.
My pictures were fine.
Fine doesn't get the wonderful. Like,
Fine doesn't get oak tenure, man.
Yeah.
That's true. He's not paying you money. He's paying you in, like,
Hey,
research
yeah,
points.
you're a
Don't-
freelance photographer.
In pester balls.
Yes. Hey, do you want to really take some good pictures? Hit him with an apple.
Come on, gotcha.
It's not an apple. It's an apple that is Pokemon-shaped food into an apple.
Yeah, that is a level of abstract. I don't understand why they had to add that additional layer of fiction atop it. Why can't it just be an apple? But
It's Pokemon food shaped into an apple.
I
Pretty
guess they
sure in
don't
the
want
game
to.
they always had like Pokemon food being different, but it'd probably be really hard to render Pokemon food in a N64 game. So they just made it into an apple and called it Pokemon food.
No, you don't want Pokemon eating regular food. Because if Pokemon eat regular food, that implies there's a sort of food chain in the Pokemon world.
Which is actually written in the Pokemon rulebook that you're not allowed to do. There's no
Yeah.
chain in Pokemon, nor are there actual animals that aren't Pokemon in the Pokemon world.
Because you
even
can't
though-
have carnivores.
Even though the anime totally screwed up those rules and depicted like fish and dogs and sorts of non-Pokemon related animals, but there's actually a Pokemon rulebook and it is crazy.
When you say rulebook, do you mean like the lore, like some things that have to happen? in the,
There is I forget where it is, but there's an actual rule book to where if you want to depict Pokemon in Nintendo or as part of a movie or cartoon, you need to follow their itemized list. It's Byzantine and insane. The only Pokemon that's ever been depicted as dying was when Team Rocket killed that one Marowak in Season 1. And that's
Yeah.
the only depiction of a Pokemon death ever.
Yep.
And they have a rule saying you can't ever do that ever again.
While we're on the subject of rules, I'd like to bring up one of my largest questions about Pokemon Snap.
okay.
So, I feel like Pokemon Snap, or just the Pokemon franchise in general, would create an excellent opportunity to leverage a sort of environmental message. And I don't think I've ever seen such a message in Pokemon. And I'm wondering if it's just like a staunch rejection of any sort of politicalization of Pokemon, or why they might not make a sort of environmentalist message.
I think.
Well, if you
So-
watch the Pokemon movies, there are a couple of Pokemon movies to where there is the message that these Pokemon, like to fight, but they like to fight under certain circumstances. That's the point of Pokemon, the movie, the first movie.
First one's heavy.
Yeah, where Ash dies and the tears of unfathomable sadness from the Pokemon
Ash.
resurrect him out of
I
nowhere.
thought Pokemon 2000 was more like heavy than Pokemon first movie.
There's the one where the guy was trying to find fossils and resurrect them, and it's like these Pokemon shouldn't be used for your own devices. Yeah, and then the later games, like with N, the character N in the Pokemon series, he's the whole message. That's when the series got kind of up its own ass with its own story.
I mean, Ruby and Sapphire, the Team Rocket analogs are eco-terrorists, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really? Did I forget about that?
Yeah, Ruby. So one team is like Team Magma or Team Lava or
wants
something.
to destroy the world and then resurrect it with their team leader as the ruler of the universe.
Yeah, they want to resurrect this ancient Pokemon that Groudon that spits hot lava, and they want it to make more continent. And then the other Team Aqua or whatever, the other ones, if you have Sapphire, they want to resurrect Kyogre and then raise the seas.
Yeah. I remember that now that you say it. But that's not really an environmentalist message.
Kyogre?
It's strongly implied that you have to be a vegetarian in the world of Pokemon because there's no meat for you to eat. Even though there's meat depicted in the animated series being consumed.
Yeah, doesn't Pikachu eat a burger?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Pika burger.
Oh, no.
It's a tofurkey burger.
Okay, sure. It's a Boca burger. Fine. All right, we're good.
Rice balls are apparently donuts as well.
Okay.
Sure.
So
anyway, back to Pokemon Snap.
In Pokemon Snap, how did you guys? So when you're actually taking pictures, at first before you get any food, how did you find the game before you had the ability to throw things at Pokemon?
Perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not great.
No, it was okay.
The controls aren't great. You're taking pictures, but
the controls are fine. Plus, you also have the option to have the toggle for zoom be just like toggle instead of hold. And I used toggle because it was easier for me.
Well, yeah, but like without, I don't want to say without the ability to pelt Pokemon with things, but without the ability to pelt Pokemon with things, it wouldn't be as beloved a game as it is.
True. I think what Pete's getting at is, and I think what Gino's asking is, when you first start the game, you have no interaction other than taking pictures. Yes. Then you get interaction. So how does the game play before interaction and then after interaction?
Because before interaction, I think it's a bad game.
It's very stale and very straightforward. You feel like when you go through these environments, you're definitely missing something.
But it's tutorial level, like.
Yeah, but that's fine. If it kept that up for more than the 2 levels that you really need to get like enough points in order to get a better get Poke Food or get a Pester Ball, if it stayed that way, I would not feel good about this game. However, after playing it, I love it. I love it so much, and that is because the Poke Food changes everything.
Yeah, it's a genre switch, right? It goes from a rail shooter to, I mean, it's still a rail shooter, but it becomes almost a puzzle game.
It becomes almost a puzzle game.
Yeah, okay. All right.
It becomes almost... This game might be... Like, it's Nintendo's design, so it kind of draws some inspiration from Metroid, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I like to call Pokemon Snap Easter Egg the video game, because every special thing that you unlock with the items is an Easter egg within the video game, and if you're not getting all of them or a significant number of them, you feel like you're missing out, or there's an aspect to the game that you're missing out on.
Yeah.
So we can hit a little tone of like causality, and when you are playing this game and you're like an 8-year-old and you have no idea how things might be able to work causally, you wouldn't be able to intuitively know that, hey, if if I set up certain actions to occur at specific times, maybe I'll get different results. Like an 8-year-old maybe is not thinking about that. But then again, an 8-year-old playing this game doesn't care that we have projectiles or not. They're just like, Pokemon's sweet. I'm in this world. This is awesome. I'll do whatever. I don't care if it's the same damn thing every time. I love Pokemon. So there's I guess we should talk about the game both as like an 8-year-old would think about it and then as we think about it.
I mean, I don't need to go into the mind of an 8-year-old necessarily, but I think that the game is more interesting. So what I was saying when I mentioned that it's kind of Metroid-esque is that this game, as soon as you start getting items, it begs you to go back to earlier levels and try them out on the earlier stuff, even though you don't necessarily have to. But as soon as you get something like the Poke Food or the Pester Ball, you think of situations where in earlier levels that might have been useful. Like, as soon as I got the Pester Ball, I went, oh, there was a situation where stuff was shaking in the bushes. I can totally use the Pester Ball. Or the Poke Flute, and you make Pokemon shake their asses for you. And once you start going through those levels and trying those items out, all of a sudden, this world that felt very static and very sterile becomes something that is interactive. You're getting all these... It's not just animations that are different, but unexpected, like Pikachu surfing, or... At one point, I started throwing Poke Food in the magma level, and just, 8 Charmanders came out.
Yeah, they just pour over that.
A horde of them.
Mm-hmm.
A horde of Charmanders. And I was, this is amazing.
That happens
Where were you?
right before, right as you hit, the Pokemon egg, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
You can make a gang of Charmanders come.
They really do get a ton of mileage out of what, 7 levels?
Yeah.
7 levels and 3 items. That's
Yeah,
it.
right? They get a ton of... it's not a long game by any stretch of the imagination, but they really do leverage everything they give you.
They use all parts of the buffalo.
Every bit of that thing is utilized to its maximum potential.
Yeah, and as soon as you... So, this is a game that, if you want to make an argument for games knowing how long they should be, instead of how long they could be, this is a game that knows exactly how long it should be played.
Sure.
It is about an hour to 2 hours. If you go longer than that, I don't know if it's necessarily so fun. Also, if you are trying to get the perfect pictures or the highest scores, you're going to have a bad time.
You're going to frustrate yourself because, like we talked about earlier, the scoring system is questionable.
Yeah.
Professor Oak has very specific desires. He wants Pokemon. So, let's see. He wants Pokemon that are big. He wants big Pokemon.
Centered.
Just Snorlax.
Not centered, I think.
That's all he wants.
Posing.
And
more Pokemon in the same picture.
Yeah.
yes.
If possible.
He wants all those things.
Yeah.
Do we know, is there an upper limit to the point scale?
Okay, so I think there is a maximum score picture, because for any of those categories, it tops out at 1,000. So for the size of the Pokemon, tops out at 1,000. The pose of the Pokemon, if it's not a special pose, tops out at 1,000. And
centered is a × 2 multiplier.
Centered is a × 2 multiplier. So those are the only things that actually have a reasonable level of scale.
Well,
right?
and how many Pokemon are in the picture,
All right, yeah,
and then how big they are.
that is something else. But that also varies, and it's not consistent.
Or it doesn't. I don't know how the math works.
Yeah, it's not as consistent.
There are certain categories to where if you don't get it down or your score is too low, Oak just straight up discards your picture.
Yeah,
It's good try.
He immediately rejects it. And then there are other categories to where
thing he's ever seen. But if one thing is flawed too much, it's just gone.
Oak's a dick.
And then there are other categories where you can kind of mess up in, and he still scores your picture and can end up being your best picture for that Pokemon. And so, if you really got obsessed with the scoring system and trying to get the perfect picture, you're right. You're missing out on the spectacle. It's a game all about providing a spectacle and inverting your expectations, because you go through these worlds and you think you kind of know what everything's in the world, and then you get your first item and you start to question, well, what can I unlock now? What did I miss out on? And then you get another item, and then you're like, oh man, okay, so can I use this here? And you actually start to actively question what is interactable in the environment. Like when I first played the game, I didn't think that throwing apples into magma would result in anything. I thought that was just a part of the background. And then
a Growth jumps out, and it's like, ha-ha!
That was an Arcanine.
Or Growth.
You can get Growths too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it inverts your expectations, and it actively, you're right, it's a puzzle game because you actively start to question what is and is not interactable in the environment, as well as what are you missing out on.
I don't know what the genre of game is called. It's not like a point-and-click adventure, but what are those type of flash games where you have to just... It's like escape the room type games. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It feels like that kind of a game, too.
Trying to figure out...
It's like a Rube Goldberg kind of thing. Escape the room by doing a Rube Goldberg sort of thing. It feels like that because there's some stuff in these levels where you have to set up from the start of the level. Like
Yeah.
I think in the valley level, you can like get these 3-star you to like fly around you,
Yeah.
and you have to do it at different parts of the level, and then at the end they jump into like a whirlpool and they become a star me and all cool stuff.
Yeah, and there are times when you need to turn Zapdos into... You need to free Zapdos from his egg, and once you free Zapdos... no, is it the Once you free Zapdos, he powers things that the Electabuzz can then work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are times when you need to cascade stuff forward in the level. But when it comes to scoring, the thing that bothers me is... Well, the game, I understand how it's coded, like... The bigger something is in the frame, the
Zeros
more
and
pixels
ones.
Well,
there
hang
are
on.
in the frame.
It's not bigger. Is the whole Pokemon in the frame, and also does it fill most of the frame? Like
Exactly,
if you
but-
have a Pokemon that's like all the way zoomed in, but you only see like 5% of the Pokemon, it's going to be a bad score.
Yeah, but what I found at least was, for example, like an Electrode that's exploding.
Yeah.
If I had it framed, but like super zoomed in, so like you just see like red or white, whatever the color is, and it just takes up the whole frame, I will get 100% score, even though you can't even tell what it is. Because
No, I'm saying that's
like,
not...
oh, this is an Electrode exploding. Wow.
Oh, you mean like if it's exploding?
Yeah, or an Electrode, like if you get it centered and taking up the whole frame, but it's so blown out that you can't even tell what Pokemon it is necessarily, but it's technically taking up the whole picture, you get a 1,000 for the size, even though it's just a red block.
Now, see, I did that for like Metapod and other Pokemon that can appear, and you don't get a good score.
Maybe you took a bad picture.
I don't know.
Maybe Professor Oak didn't like it. Maybe, and then there's times when, because you have another Pokemon that could be in the frame centered, even though there's another... Sometimes it does a bad job of picking which Pokemon you're actually focusing on or trying to take a picture of.
Right.
So it's like, even though there's a huge Metapod right to my left, technically this other Metapod is in the center of the frame, so you get...
It scores that Metapod instead, yeah.
It scores that Metapod instead of the one you intended to take the picture of.
Like
there was a time where I was trying to take a picture of the Zubat with the Pikachu, and it ended up thinking I was trying to take a picture of like some Pokemon that was on the ground, technically in the frame, because it was closer, even though the thing that was centered was the Zubat with the Pikachu. It's weird. I do like that we can mention specific Pokemon in specific poses, and we all know exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly what it looks like.
That's true.
And we can even say that, like you said with the Meowth, I know exactly what part of the level that happens in, exactly where I can find that, and how to prevent that situation.
Exactly what to hit it in the face with when you find
Yes.
I think in part 2 we should definitely go over some of our favorite setups,
Yeah, I don't know if we can spoil Pokemon Snap,
No,
so our
you
second
can't.
half might just be more in-depth discussion of Pokemon Snap. So what Pokemon did you hit with an apple?
All of them.
All of them?
You'll
Yeah, I get all of them.
spray and pray.
You got to see what happens in every single instance.
Did you hit any Pokemon with an apple while they were on the tracks? So you hit them with your car?
Yeah, you can do that with Electabuzz
Yeah, with
in the
Vulpix.
tunnel level.
Yeah, I ran over an Electabuzz.
Well,
I
you can
ran
like
over a
infinitely
Doduo.
stall the game that day or that way.
Yep. I was just
And
hitting them with
sometimes
my
that's
car.
necessary so you can have things like occur at the right times. It doesn't throw off the timing so much because a lot of it is state-based triggers,
I'm
like
just gonna see
where
if you
you
can.
are on the track triggers a
Yep.
state, but some of it can get like desynchronized and it lends for better pictures sometimes.
Yeah, if you hit Electabuzz with an apple and he gets knocked down, you can then stall your little cart and you'll see more Kakuna come
Yeah.
down, and it makes Kakuna pictures easier.
And if you stall yourself in the river by having the Metapod stop in front of you, you can wait for a better cycle of the Psyduck who's swimming around, and then you can have something special occur where he's like shiny or something. You just get a better angle on him when he does that if you stall for a little while until he's in one of his particular swimming cycles.
Yeah, and these are the weird interactions that happen in Pokemon Snap. It seems like it's a diorama at first, but as soon as you start pitching apples and pester balls and poke-fluting, it all of a sudden becomes this very, very different experience. It's weird.
Yes.
It is oddly compelling.
And that's something that games that have tried to do the Pokemon Snap thing have gotten totally wrong, is they've just been, go into this environment and take pictures, collect all 152 possible pictures. Hooray. There's no sense of discovery or interaction with the environments. You just have to take pictures in that environment.
Yeah, exactly. In Africa, you don't get to shoot the wildebeest or hit them with apples.
No.
You just hope that the wildebeest go where you want.
Chucking
chemical
poison
smoke
gas at the
bombs.
wildebeest.
Yeah, poison gas.
I think there is an elephant in the room though. Or what would a Pokemon elephant be? A Snorlax?
There is a Pokemon elephant. Is it Stampy?
No, what's the Dunfan?
Dunfan?
That's not Gen 1. Get out of here.
It's Gen 2. That's Silver. So there's a Dunfan in the room. And I think it's how much is nostalgia doing here, right? How much work is the Pokemon brand doing here? Because I think we've all said, the mechanics are solid in their own right, but how much could they carry if it weren't Pokemon specifically?
Okay, I mean, I guess we're getting to the question now, why is this game still good?
Yeah.
I think we should answer this question in part 2.
I think we should. Is there anything that we want to hit about intro of this game or like gameplay mechanics before we go? Part
Should we do a
2?
quick favorite photo? Does it matter? Should we save that for part 2 too?
Yeah, I think so, because there are some secret photos.
Ooh.
There's some mechanics.
Well, we can talk about favorite level. How about we thought favorite?
Yeah, let's go through
sure.
the levels as like an outline. So,
Yeah.
Sure. So there's the beach.
which is a great tutorial. It's
Beach.
It's
does
nice,
exactly-
slow moving,
does exactly what it needs to do.
lots of opportunities. Yeah, very
There's
easy setups.
There's the tunnel,
That's
which is
That's level
probably
2.
my least favorite level.
I like
lava, the fire.
I love the fireplace. Fire level, my favorite level.
Volcano.
the volcano level really is your favorite?
I like the volcano.
Cool.
Oh, Volcano's good.
There's the cave.
Cave is my favorite.
Cave.
There's the river.
I think river's my favorite.
There's the swamp. Oh no, wait, that's still the river.
There's two different rivers. There's
Yeah,
the
right.
swamp and there's the valley or the canyon. So there's that swamp river with the metapods and the Bulbasaurs,
Yep.
and then there's the canyon
Yeah, it's
river.
called Valley.
Valley. Yep. And then there's the final level,
It
right?
sucks.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
the final level's terrible.
the final level is a giant. It's a
nothing
giant
wrong.
frustrating name. It's a giant frustrating nightmare.
There's nothing
Yep.
wrong with it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things
Yeah,
wrong.
the
with
only
it.
thing wrong with it is that it totally sucks. That's the only thing
And it
wrong.
asks and demands for a level of precision that the N64 controller is not capable of.
It also is a complete anticlimax
That's
because
true. That's another great point.
there's only one thing to take a picture of.
I mean-
You know what's great about Pokemon Snap? Taking pictures of all the shit. All of it. Not taking pictures, trying it really hard to hit one thing and take pictures of one thing.
What if it had been like all of the legendary Pokemon in one level?
That would have been great.
What if
there were-
what if the background had been interesting and not just total blackness with like Rainbow Road and the flooring?
That level sucks.
I don't know. What if when I threw Pokemon food into the air, like just Magikarp, like Gyarados came up from the clouds or something?
Mm-hmm.
Anything. What if when I took pictures of the constellations, it counted? Anything else?
Anything would have been nice.
So those are all the levels. There are like six real levels. Beach,
Beach.
7
and then
real
the 5.
levels.
So
seven real levels, and a bullshit level.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And that is the Pokemon Snap experience. So when we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will discuss how big a role does nostalgia play in our appreciation of this game? What are our favorite weird situations? We'll talk a little bit about the Easter eggs.
Quick correction: six levels and bullshit level.
and one bullshit.
Yeah. Just had to fact check that real quick.
Thank you. And then I guess we will debrief and then pick a next episode, pick a next game.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be back. All right, since we're doing 2 episodes now, if you do not listen to the second half...
Would you be crazy not to?
That's true. You can send feedback at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com, or you can drop a comment on our actual deeplistens.libsyn.com feed. Which reminds me, because we had a guest today, I forgot to read we had feedback.
Ooh, we got feedback?
Yeah, that's actually a good thing. So before we send it in to the second half, I guess we'll hit the feedback just because the feedback's supposed to go in the first part.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was my mistake. I was so
we
excited
can hit
to have
it
a
real
guest.
quick. It's fine.
We had to talk about Blockbuster. Okay, so this comes in from Ryan. He commented on our Undertale.
Hello, Ryan.
Exploring what makes us unique podcast, what makes games unique podcast. And he said, Telltale games, The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, felt more engaging story-wise than Undertale, because even the small decisions that you made could affect interactions, such as giving people food, or in The Wolf Among Us, how you handle interrogation/conflict. And he felt that was more impactful than Undertale in the way that Undertale handled consequence and handled decisions. I disagree. But does anyone else have a strong feeling on kind of the adventure game, the Telltale adventure game style of consequence versus something like the Undertale's implicit consequences?
Which one?
I really can't give an opinion because it'd just be the same one as before. But in extreme short version, I like that in Telltale games, you can just replay and have an entirely fresh chance to experience everything you wanted to the first time. Whereas in like Undertale, if you play the game quote unquote incorrectly, it can ruin it for you.
I don't have the same problem with the polemizing. What's the word I want? I don't have the same problem with how dogmatic Undertale is that Billy does, but I'm just always happy to hear somebody say mean things about Undertale. So that's always nice.
I hate everything. So the reason I disagree is because I like the idea that the game is watching you without explicitly telling you that it's watching you, that it's paying attention without...
That's a little voyeuristic, don't you think, Gino?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think
but
you're just
in
a weirdo.
In The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, as soon as you make a decision, the game says, this person will remember.
Yeah,
and it makes explicit that the game is watching you. It lets you know, hey, we know that you didn't give this kid food.
That's a little on the nose.
We're going to care at some point. Whereas Undertale, up until you reload a save or you get to the end of the game, you don't really realize that you're being judged or even what you're being judged on. And so I think that that's a more engaging way to handle it, at least for me. It doesn't gamify necessarily. So The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead kind of gamifies decision-making. It makes the game a matter of, oh, how do these choices affect these characters? Whereas Undertale, it's more of a... It's not gamifying that. The gameplay is largely dodging stuff and seeing the world around you. It is not necessarily making these hard choices.
Yeah.
So I think I like that way a little bit better, where the choices are not the game unto themselves.
Right. Fair enough.
All right. So if you want to send feedback at Deep Listens Pod, Deep Listens Podcast at gmail.com, or on our Libsyn, deeplistens.libsyn.com comment section. So when we come back, we will discuss more stuff about Pokemon Snap. Peace!